Greetings, Marvel's Abdonger fans. We're back with another Marvel's Avengers video here on G4G, and I am your mildly not impressed narrator for this video. Hey, calm down. So, what am I not impressed about? Well, not actually the game or the patch. That's not where the issue is. Sort of. It's not actually the gameplay of the patch itself, although there are some people that are having issues with that. And that is that for some people, Monica is basically one-shotting them in a very unfair way. And for other people, they are one-shotting Monica in Phase 1, or potentially even Phase 2.
Yeah, it's definitely eco-unfriendly.
Does not seem to be intended. Now, it looks potato right now because I am streaming this from my Xbox One to my PC, and there's some shit going on over there that I don't want to engage with right now. So never mind the artifacting and the potato and the lag and everything like that. That is just simply because of the streaming from the Xbox One to my PC, which seems to do this. Although I don't have this kind of an issue when I, for the most part, do the PlayStation 4 to my PC through PS Remote Play. But anyway, we're not actually going to talk about this dude here and his wings and his fur coat and Miss Marvel and Kate and Hawkeye. No, we are actually going to talk about them screwing the pooch yet again. And I would like to thank channel lover EKB Edmund for going ahead and bringing this to me today, because I don't necessarily know when I would have stumbled upon this, but he got me bright and early today about this. So starting with Paul Tassi from Forbes talking about Outriders, which ironically is another game that I play, and they recently did a community appreciation gift about a week or two ago. I told the girlfriend about it because we play Outriders together, but I think I haven't yet signed in to grab it, which hopefully it didn't expire. But so he talked about the patch for Outriders that said legendary loot is fixed and a whole bunch of other things. By the way, when people see guns like this, do they think Destiny? Because Borderlands 3 is now doing some guns that kind of have that organic H.R. Geiger-esque look to the guns, which to me always makes me think of the Hive guns in Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. So when I see something like this, kind of very thorny, very Nordic-y, Celtic looking, like, I just think Destiny 1 and 2 are kind of the originators of this look, and everybody follows it. Maybe not this one, but that sort of techno-organic look that Borderlands 3 has for some guns, to me, I think comes from Destiny. But Sael over here said, Crystal Dynamics just doxed me showing my IP on stream in a game. And what I believe is it might only be a PlayStation issue. Paul Tassi went ahead and dug into it deeper and did find out that it was true, and I do believe he has a screenshot of it happening. And he hopped on like his Black Widow, and along the bottom of the screen was his username, and on the right was the date and the time. Okay, here it is. And then, so this left one is the string of numbers that apparently not a lot of people really know what it is. Maybe like a dev build or something. Ironic that this is the MCU skin over here with not MCU hair, not MCU colored hair, and small pistols that when removed from their holsters turn into big, not MCU pistols. So that's kind of funny. Johnny Quest 18, this is where the IP address is, date and time. So this is what it looks like. It might only be related to the PlayStation. I'm not exactly too sure if Xbox Series has it and if the PC version has it, but one of the major issues with it isn't that it's happening. That's actually super bad. That truly is about 80% of this, because imagine it drops and you're like early to the party and you're like, okay, this dropped at 3 in the morning. It's now 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to stream this. This could be huge. This is one of the things that might help the game a little bit. And bada bing, PlayStation, bada boom, launch game, bada ultra bing, there's my fucking IP for the world to see. And that's like, whoa. And the thing is, they went and said, Marvel's Avengers Twitter said, we are aware of floating string of text appears on the screen. We are investigating. Please refrain from streaming it. Call it like it is. They eventually did get around to it, apparently. But call it for what it is, that it is just say like location information, if you don't want to use IP. But they were so cavalier in it, and the thing is, they never took the game down. There are people who maybe are not jumping on the web, or maybe not technically savvy, and don't know what that is down there. I mean, I can imagine, not boomer, but maybe older gen, like maybe an older Gen X boomer border, like a father-son, father-daughter team playing the game together, and like maybe the kid's like 12 or 13, doesn't really know that kind of stuff yet, and the parent playing it is older than me, is just not really familiar with the technical side of things. They just play games. Maybe they're like tag teaming this. They're not necessarily going to know what that is. I mean, myself and my girlfriend being extremely technically literate, and me in the IT field and her in the IT coding field, we're going to recognize that. I don't know of anybody in my circle, be it in person in real life or online, that isn't going to recognize what an IP address is. But that's because, like, we're gamers, we're World of Warcraft players, we are UT players who were used to looking at server logs to make sure nobody was ringing by like, wait a minute, this dude's IP changed. And, you know, so many people I know can run a tracer or a visual route. We know this stuff. But I can imagine there is a lot of people who just play games and aren't technically literate. And they're like, I don't know what that is over there. And somebody watching the stream is like, oh shit, that's that dude's IP address. I'm going to go ahead and DDoS them now, because I'm a little 17-year-old script baby kitty. By the way, interesting little history that I want to mention over here. Way back in the days of like IRC and the earlier days of a really popular net and everything, there used to be a Linux command called a bitch slap. If you had a certain kind of modem, this is like in the 56K dial-up days. I don't know if it was a Rockwell chipset, but you could send a bitch slap command to a modem, and what it would do is it would tell the EPROM to flush itself. So essentially that is telling the brains of the major chips on your modem, forget what you are, flush yourself. And you just essentially had a piece of silicone at that point. You had a toaster. That's what you had. The entire programming of the modem remotely through a Linux command could be told to just forget itself. So that was particularly nasty at the time. And that could be done if somebody knew your IP address. If you weren't masking it through a firewall, or you weren't behind a router or a switch where only the router's IP address was exposed. Anyway, it's dangerous for somebody to know your IP. There's a lot that can be done with it. And this guy, Steps, is like, oh, that's not what doxing is. And everybody jumped on him, was like, no, that is exactly what doxing it is, because if somebody knows your IP address, they can do a lot of things with malicious intent. And I roasted this guy over here and was basically like, dude, you need to, you're just embarrassing yourself with every tweet that you make on the matter. For online people who go by handles and everything like that, the real names of people is considered doxing. I mean, this is something that uh, Zoe Quinn was involved with, like, way back in the day. Like, doxing, I mean, probably considered it heroic, but, like, doxing the bad guys and everything. Well, when you use bad tactics against bad people, you're a bad person. Um, So, revealing any kind of information about somebody that is hidden behind the internet and handles and online monikers is doxing. So, if you're watching a streamer and the streamer has not actually played yet, literally fired it up, fired the stream and said, okay, boys, let's go. We're going to try this new villain sector here for the Cosmic Cube event. And 100 people are watching, and there goes the IP address along the bottom of the screen like a fucking banner. All you need to do is just, like, look back on the stream or clip it or screenshot it, and you now have that streamer's IP address. That's not good. And it's really, really sad to see this from Crystal Dynamics, from Square, just keep happening to this game. I mean, we've covered it so much recently with the poor wording on skins. Calling those skins steampunk is not the right way to go. I mean, they were Victorian, they were Renaissance, but, you know, steampunk was not it. One of the only ones that I thought was decent or quote-unquote steampunk was the Black Widow one, because the goggles are steampunk-esque. One of the channel watchers, Darth, was like, "That's I actually hate that one." I'm now leaning more towards the Iron Man one as being one of my favorites over any of them. It kind of looks like a suit of armor that is knightly, and when you actually look at it full screen, this is more like a blue, like a cobalt blue. This looks decent. I mean, it's actually not that bad, but Kamala's is a little weird. And, like, why shades? They don't look like steampunk goggles. They look like a hip, modern, semi-hip, modern sunglasses. I mean, the frames on them are a little big, but, like, that doesn't look steampunk. Hawkeye doesn't particularly look steampunk, although I would say, again, Renaissance, possibly Victorian, maybe Prince's limo driver with the amount of purple and gold there. Cap is somewhat salvaged by the fact that his shield is different, and it's the only Cap skin in the game that actually does something different with the shield. Again, a little bit too much red, but it is broken up by the fact that the inner red is different from the outer red with the texture. But I thought I kind of liked Cap skins a little bit the first time. I don't know if it changed or in like a week my taste just recovered. But, like, they're mostly awful. And yet, as people on Twitter pointed out, that people accidentally get free skins one day. They take the game down at 4 a.m. on a Sunday to make sure that people aren't getting these free skins, yet the game is doxing streamers and content creators that maybe don't even know what's on screen and make a video and put it out there like me, and then, like, whoa, there's my IP address. That's ridiculous. And the fact that they didn't go, whoa, and turn the game off for like an hour, maybe half hour while this is fixed, I think it's ridiculous. And you might say, well, Napalm, they're probably a little scared to do that on a day that a major content patch drops, and you know, people are saying the mission's like not bad and it's kind of fun and blah blah blah. See here, the new villain sector was really good. But there's so many things about it that they're probably like, oh, we want to go ahead and keep this rolling because it's major patch day. It's not costing us money. You're doxing people. There might be some aggressive people who try and sue you if they prove, hey, look, I was streaming, my IP address went out. And you could even fake a lawsuit. You could have somebody be like, hey, man, listen, let's go after Square and Crystal here, okay? I'm gonna have you like pretend to dox me or like DDoS me, and I'm gonna save it in my firewall logs, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna be like, see, my IP address accidentally went out on the stream, and somebody tried to DDoS me and caused me disconnects, or my ISP turned me off for an hour because they thought I was getting attacked. Like, you could totally like fake your way through a lawsuit here if you actually wanted to. And no, they won't take the game down for that, but they'll take it down for skins, or they won't fix hives that don't spawn. Like what you see over here, it's just the legendary nameplate. I mean, it's kind of amazing that this game is still breathing, because I feel like No Man's Sky at this point gave up. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV, the original one, when it was proved by Big Fat Phony that they were like copy pasting textures, and he gets on a call with like Final Fantasy XIV CEO who's like, sorry American person, we will do better. And they made it free, and they were like fixing it, and then you get Realm Reborn. Like, I feel that Marvel's Avengers has just dunked all over them on the amount of things that is wrong, yet this game still fucking continues with expensive skins, mediocre to middling to crap updates, and bugs, major bugs that don't get fixed. I don't know what they're doing. I want to like this game. It's a Marvel game. It's got fun combat when you are executing your characters and you are not bugging out somehow. It is fun, and it's Kamala Khan is different from Thor, is different from Iron Man, is different from Black Widow, and Hawkeye and Kate might be, you know, a little similar at times, although Hawkeye I think is believed to be a little more melee friendly. You keep doing Abdongers like level stuff, and yet you're still trying to get our money and everything. I mean, Iron Man losing intrinsic energy for takedowns is just fucking ridiculous. Him and Cap, you shouldn't be losing energy from the ability that tends to regen a lot of that. Regen health, regen energy. It's... I don't know. I'm kind of speechless at this point. I'm going to play this Cube villain sector. I want to see it. I'm a little concerned about the boss based on what I've read on Reddit today, that people are running out of cover. They can't do enough damage to get Monica through her phases, and she's just like wiping the board with people. Or apparently ranged is really the way to go, which is why I'm Thor over here. He's not... I mean, he is more melee oriented, but I don't think my Black Widow and my Hawkeye can really compete with an end boss like this, so I'm kind of towing the line and going middle of the road over here, which is why I don't have Kamala in. Yeah, and then meanwhile, Outriders is setting a precedent by doing a patch that fixes drop rates of Legendary and is giving community appreciation packages. You want to talk about community appreciation packages? This game needs to give you the world. This game honestly needs to kowtow and humble itself in front of the 7 people remaining that play this game, and throw upon you heaps of gold. They need to come in looking like, poor, disheveled beggars that are wearing burlap sacks and walking with canes made out of twigs that are barely fashioned because they're like, we have no energy and the village has no children and water and food, but here is all the gold that we have. We're sorry, it's the best we can do. They need to give you every ounce of food and gold and water that the entire village has, and 27 out of 29 people need to die to bring it to you. That's how much they need to beg the community's forgiveness for how much stuff this does. And the thing is, I'm still going to play it, and I'm still going to try it and like it, and, you know, do the insanity thing of see how many times I wipe on the boss before I throw the controller across the room and like, fuck this. Sort of the way Red Room was for a little while when I accidentally went careening off into the red digital lava for no reason. Just Black Widow's like, hey, hot bath time. But, I don't know. I will try the boss and I'll see what happens, and maybe I'll hold off producing this video until after that. But doxing people by displaying their IP address on the screen, and then not really doing anything major about it is just pretty ridiculous at this point. So, hope you guys enjoyed this Marvel's Avengers video, and maybe I'll put in some footage of how I feel about the boss when I actually get up to it. Talk to you guys later. Well, not going to be able to show or talk about the boss at the end of this because this is what I'm stuck on. Listen. Hear this? That's my joystick. It's my gamepad. Am I doing anything? Nope. Oh, I can still get start menu and I can still get options menu, but I can't ultimate. Can't get the Bifrost, which means I am stuck. This happens. I could still use my intrinsic Odin Force. That is literally the only thing I could do. No heroics work, no ultimate works. These guys are just kind of standing around. Hawkeye's like, fuck all y'all, I'm out here looking at the aquarium, and I can't move. So, yep. That's done. Thanks, Marbles of Dongers. Really appreciate the fine gaming experience you've given me. Fuck off.